Hey everyone, I think this is part 5 of the Star Wars thoughts. What number was that I just finished? 4? Yeah. Alright, well, I guess it'll be labeled correctly when I post these online. I think it's part 5. Anyway, at the end of the last one, I was talking about why Rogue One, while emotionally engaging and well written in that way, is not great overall. And I think I ended the video pretty quickly because I was arriving at my destination, and I rushed at the end and didn't get to all of my points, and actually didn't even say some of them clearly. Like, for example, when I was talking about the Imperial engineer building in the weakness of the thermal exhaust port, I spoke unclearly, and my intention was to say, why would you need to build in a weakness? Like, everything has weak spots, and if there had been, just a normal maintenance tunnel to get to that gigantic power plant in the middle of the station, so ships can fly in instead of having to try and maneuver large parts through hallways or something. Yeah, maintenance tunnel would have been great. There was no reason to specify that anyone built in a weakness, right? Like, that, it just doesn't make sense. So let's see. The last thing I'm going to bring up about Rogue One, two more things. One more thing the next thing that bothered me was that the interaction between Director Krennic and Darth Vader, where Director Krennic is trying to push all the blame onto everyone else and look out for himself. Vader has the line, he starts choking Director Krennic with the Force, and says to him, don't choke on your aspirations. At this point, Darth Vader is supposed to be menacing, not making stupid word jokes, word puns, wordplay. Sorry, I'm apparently not my most clear-minded right at this moment. Anyway, I didn't like that part. I thought it was dumb. He just should have said something like, go away. Like, I'm tired of all this crap you're spewing. Just go away. Not a joke. Anyway, I think I mentioned in the previous video, maybe, that it was kind of neat to see. You know what? Maybe I didn't mention it. Near the end of the movie, when you get to see Vader open up and just start wrecking house. I remember being excited in the theater, and looking back on it, it's still a fun scene to watch. It's pretty cool. But I have kind of a problem with it in that the end of the movie is pressed right up against the beginning of episode 4, right? It just leads right into episode 4. And one of the best lightsaber fights in Star Wars is the one between Obi-Wan and Vader in Episode 4. They're two older men who don't move quite as well as they used to, and they're using small movements in their fencing instead of big lavish ones, because they're more efficient. They're just, it's generally better, more effective. So like that was also, well, I don't need to start talking about that, but short version is that I call it one of the better fights, lightsaber fights in the series, because it has significance. Like, it's not just thrown in there to give us something flashy to watch. It's meaningful. What's happening, the outcome is meaningful. So then we have this with older men who don't move so well facing off. But maybe a few days before, at most, a day before, based on the way Rogue One portrays it, Vader has that admittedly awesome looking scene where he is much more spry than what we see in Episode 4. Like, he exerts himself a whole lot more in Rogue One than he does in Episode 4. And so what I'm struggling with is the massive difference between what Vader seems to be in Rogue One a day or two before and Episode 4. Like, I'm torn too, because the scene is cool looking, and I like seeing Vader do that. But it didn't work for me in total, because Rogue One is the ancillary movie, and Episode 4 is the original. It is supposed to be the source of truth. And so, yeah, that was a rough one. And now I don't remember if I mentioned this in the previous video, but Rogue One, like Solo, should have been done as a series like Andor, or like Obi-Wan's series. No, I don't need to hurry. I'm doing my video. They could have told that story as like a spy thriller. If you remember, in Episode 4, the other military leaders in that conference room with Tarkin and Vader are chiding him for having trouble retrieving the plans. And that happens like right after Leia's ship gets to Tatooine and gets captured by Vader, right? Like, so he's making progress. But they expect, like, oh, holy crap, this super unexpected thing just happened. Vader seems to be on top of it. Why is this military leader making fun of the super powerful armored guy that is famous from the Clone Wars? So that part didn't make sense to me at the end of Rogue One, where because they put it right up against Episode 4, and I keep wanting to change lanes because we're going so slow. We're actually going under the speed limit on the highway. Who does that? Anyway, because Rogue One butts right up against Episode 4, we have the impression that Vader hasn't been searching for those plans for any time at all. Like, he managed to get there in time to try and stop this from happening, and the rebels just happened to get away. Like, that. Are they saying he shouldn't have even failed there? Like, making fun of him for that? Do they even know what happened there yet? Like, have they talked to him and his task force about what happened there? No. Episode 4 is definitely telling us that Vader's been searching for these plans for a while. And the image that paints to me is that we should have had a show, a spy thriller show about rebel spies trying to find the plans so they can work on finding a weakness. Because they know they're going to have to deal with this thing sooner or later. If they don't, and the Imperial Navy, the Imperial fleet is no longer tied up keeping the systems in line, just like showing military presence to keep people in line, those ships can now just go after the rebels, right? So, yeah, Death Star being completed, really bad for the rebels. So of course they're trying to find its weaknesses. Of course they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. We could have had like a one season, limited series that gives us that information. All right, I'm getting close to my destination again. Yeah, Rogue One was emotionally engaging, but could have been so much better and should have been done as a series. Yeah, I guess part 6 is next. Thank you for listening.